What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NFL DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday Night Football, Jags and Bengals. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman. Only place you're going to get updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. Let me know in the comment section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. And finally, shout out to No House Advantage for being the presenting sponsor of this video. Use the promo code Awesemo when signing up. Get a little bit of extra cash on your first deposit. Now, we round out the bottom of my top 10 with Evan McPherson, Auden Tate, Laviska Shenault, Trevor Lawrence, and James Robinson on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites? My top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. This is shaping up to be a very difficult slate because the top 4 names on my list are all Bengals, which means it's going to be very difficult to key in on any specific Jaguars. Marvin Jones is at the top of the list, but James Robinson and Trevor Lawrence and Laviska Shenault are all really packed in together. Sifting through all of that is going to be difficult, but for now, Jones gets to the number 5 spot. He's 8,600, projected for 20.5 fantasy points. They are underdogs, 7.5 points in fact, with a 46-point game total. This is the number 31 ranked offense via PFF, going up against the number 21 ranked defense, again via PFF. There's a 5% chance that Marvin Jones goes for north of 30 fantasy points, a 7% likelihood that he's the optimal captain, plus a 35% chance he is simply in the optimal utility spot. Either way, 42% likelihood that Marvin Jones gets into the optimal. That is the highest rate of anyone on the Jaguars. It's been going well for him so far. Jamar Chase is coming in at number 4. He's 10,200, which I don't think that anybody would have been expecting at the beginning of the season, but he's been fantastic. Projected for 22 fantasy points. They are 7.5 point favorites in this game, going up against the 30th ranked defense. They are the 18th ranked offense, so, right around the middle of the pack, but this is a bad Jaguars team. 13% of the time, Jamar Chase can go for north of 30 fantasy points. There's a 15% likelihood he's the optimal captain, 32% at utility. Jamar Chase is in the optimal 46% of the time. That's very good. That's enough to get him to number 4. But look at the step up in tier that we are taking for 1, 2, and 3. All 3 guys in the optimal lineup in the mid 60s, which means you're likely to need 2 of the 3 of the next 3 guys that I talk about. The scary part is there's a really solid chance that one of my 3 best plays are not in an optimal lineup. Good luck figuring out which one's which. First up at number 3, we're going to Joe Burrow. He's 11,600, projected for 24 fantasy points. Can't get much better of a matchup here against the Jags. 16% likelihood to go for 30 or more. 15% likelihood to be the optimal captain, plus another 48 at utility. You're going to be mixing and matching a lot of Bengals. For right now, it's 7:58 a.m. Joe Burrow is 3rd of the top 3 Bengals. That's kind of crazy to me, but let's be clear here. There's very little difference between 63% likelihood, 63% likelihood, and 65% likelihood. These guys might scramble by the time we get to lock. Next up at number 2, we've got Tyler Boyd. He's 7,400, projected for 17 fantasy points. Great spot. No T. Higgins, so he should get a little bit more work. Almost 13% chance to go for north of 30 fantasy points. A 17% likelihood to be the optimal captain because that price tag looks incredible. 46% likelihood to be in the utility. We get Tyler Boyd to number 2 because that price tag, given this current setup with no Higgins, makes him look really, really cost efficient. I think Boyd is probably my favorite play to mix and match. You're just going to have to pay very close attention to the ownership. Now, we're on to the number 1, which I think is probably pretty obvious. But before we get to that number 1 contender, one last reminder, like button, subscribe to the channel, notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Head to Twitter, follow me at Josh Engleman. In the comment section, I want to know your favorite and least favorite contenders, and I want you guys to go check out No House Advantage using the promo code Awesemo. And finally, we close it out with 11K Joe Mixon in the number one spot, projected for 21 fantasy points. This is a fantastic matchup. I actually bet the under on his receptions. Go check out the breakfast menu for that, because I think that he's just going to grind them into a halt on the ground. 16% chance he goes for north of 30, 17% likelihood to be the optimal captain, plus another 48% at utility. I think the floor on Joe Mixon is really, really high. I'm expecting to use Mixon more than anybody else on the slate. He is my number one contender for today. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NFL DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday Night Football, Bengals and Jags. FanDuel version of this video is around here somewhere. Keep your eyes peeled for my updates later tonight. Good luck, everybody. I will be back again tomorrow morning for my Week 4 edition of my Top 5s.